Welcome back to the channel. Tune in. Here goes Stout. We have more mixed signals from the Federal Reserve, and we have something unsettling happening in the background that many people are not noticing, but maybe even worse than H-1B visas, it might be a response to Americans calling for them to not be allowed in the country. First, let's start off with Jerome Powell said at the Federal Reserve meeting the other day. He confirmed something that, this channel knew back in September. We cut interest rates again by another 25 basis points, bringing our current interest rate to 3.75, and that's a reduction of 75 basis points just within this year alone. Along with cutting the interest rates, Jerome Powell decided to do what he does best and scare the shit out of the market.
I don't know how to help.
He contradicted himself endless times, and depending on what you wanted to hear, he said it. But the most important things that I got from that meeting was the fact that the job market is in a weird spot. Just like August, they're still worried about it. They're still playing it by ear, and they're willing to cut interest rates more if the job market teeters. On top of the job market being uncertain, he flat out and just said the housing market is in a troubled situation, and the solution will not come from the Fed. He says that it's a shortage problem, but we all know it's a Blackstone and BlackRock problem that nobody wants to actually pin on them except the common working man. And the most talked about part of the Fed meeting, the Federal Reserve is starting up QE. Well, not really. The Fed said it's going to buy $40 billion of treasury bills for the next 30 days, starting this Friday. This would be called TOMO. That stands for Temporary Open Market Operations. So take that as you will. But all that aside, the things that I want to focus on, the things that are going to affect you. Because relatively speaking, for the stock market, given no weird things happen, which I have to make more videos regarding the EU because a lot of weird stuff is happening there that may threaten American treasuries, then this should be pretty bullish for investors if you know where to put your money. But we need to talk about unemployment because Jerome's worried about it. I've spoken on this channel about how serious it's getting for people, and the news that we're getting does not look good. With the rise in anti-H-1B visa sentiment and anti-immigrant sentiment in the United States, honestly, companies have decided, why am I going to pay $100K for H-1B visa? Why am I going to buy my worker the golden card when I simply can just move the jobs to India? And Amazon, just like with everything else, is leading the charge on this. They have decided to invest $35 billion into India and have pledged to create 1 million jobs by 2030, while at the same time laying off 30,000 American workers and being the largest employer of H-1B visa workers in the entire country. And that's before we even talk about the leaked plan to fire up to 500,000 warehouse workers and replace them with robots. But they're not alone in the move. Microsoft is moving in lockstep with Amazon. You could say dick to crack, and they're investing $17.5 billion in India. And just like Amazon, they're also one of the top H-1B visa employers with around 7,500 H-1B visa workers there. But we're not done. We have one more corporation deciding to join the wave, and that is eBay. While I was not able to get the total amount that they're investing into India, they did decide to build a new GCC in India that's about 60,000 square feet. This new warehouse will help with a lot of critical functions, they say, including engineering, product development, product management, and data analytics. This is kind of weird. eBay left India about 7 years ago, and they're making their return. I wonder why. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Jerome Powell also said that the US may be overstating jobs by as much as 60,000 per month. And if that wasn't enough to make your stomach turn, we just got another report that says that 263 people filed for unemployment just last week, which is above the expected 220,000 people. Now, before I get that one person in the comments saying,
"Please, Ghost, give us good news,"
and I will tell you what I told you last time, when there's good news, you'll hear about it. But my goal on this channel is to keep it honest with you so you can make moves, because when I was in debt, when I was in a spot that I didn't like, nobody told me the truth about what was actually going on. I had to find out for myself. And for a lot of young men, the only path we have out of the current lifestyles that this world is selling us is through finances and smart finances. Everywhere you look, they're trying to normalize extremism on both sides. And I think the only people that win are the ones based in reality that can see both sides and understand that they're trying to sell you a future that doesn't necessarily exist. Is the recession going to happen tomorrow? I'm not telling you that. Are we going to have a bull market for the entire year? I'm not telling you that. But everything I'm telling you today will be true 10 years from now. Get your finances in order or be a victim to the system that you're placed in. While I know a lot of millennials have faced this problem and are in their later age and are still facing economic uncertainty, millennials I've come across in my life have told me the same things that I'm passing on to you as I get older. If you keep up with the rat race, start idolizing consumerism, and find safety in a plastic card, you're gonna go down the same debt spiral that a lot of Americans have been subjected to. As a fellow person in Gen Z, obviously on the later side, I'm 28. I'm not telling you skip out on your avocado toast. I really don't care if you get a coffee in the morning for $5. And if you want to get a McMuffin every single morning to start your day off, you can do that. I'm not in the business of shaming you for what you do, but I want to appeal to the people who are really active in taking their future seriously. And when you know what's coming up ahead, you can better prepare. I've told you the same stuff as always. Put your money in an index fund. Don't worry about it. If you are interested in buying precious metals, gold, silver, anything to hold value and hedge your bets, I would recommend that. Don't ever try to time the market. Just understand what's coming next. And if you're one of the extreme bears on the market and think that we're going to see a collapse like never before, then don't invest in any of that. Hedge your bets, of course, but if this collapse of central banking that everybody is trying to push is gonna happen, then I think the problems that we have are not gonna be inflation or whether we have gold saved up or whether we're holding value. We will have a societal shift that will put everybody in danger, and then you need to prepare for that. Stock up on food, stock up on resources, make community with the people around you, because if everything does hit the fan like people are trying to portray, then this money will not matter. The writing is on the wall. Hard times are coming. These corporations are finding ways to be American first while also being the same ones that tore down the American dream to begin with. I want to say some profound shit like, oh, we're entering a new age of finances, but we're not. We're entering the same financial market that we've always had, one that favors the top and really doesn't give a shit about the people at the bottom. And I don't know how else to tell you if you don't believe that by now. People have joked that Americans don't actually understand what working class is and fail to identify themselves as that. Instead, we see ourselves as millionaires who are down on their luck, who just need one big break to reach that next milestone. This idea leads us to hurt the people at the bottom and favor the people at the top, even idolizing them to a certain point. But when you look at the numbers and how life really works out, most people don't have good financial futures. While we talk about the old times and how great they were and how it was so prosperous and booming, we don't talk about what led to those times or why they even happened. To have times like the boomers had, we have to experience times like the silent generation had as well. And the thing that disappoints me is a lot of people our age are calling for this to happen. I understand how broken the system is and how much we need change, but I think this romanticized version of change that people are asking for is not what's going to happen. On the last video I posted, somebody said, I can't wait till it all falls down so that we can actually own something. You will own a Hoover home. You will own a cardboard box and be like Squidward.
Spare change, ma'am.
Squidward? Squidward, is that you?
We are not going to own something. Young people do not get rich off recessions. The people who get rich off recessions are the people not affected. So your two options are either to have some skin in the game, own a house, own property, own a lot in your stock portfolio already, or have a job that's secure from the mass layoffs and unemployment that will follow a recessionary or depressionary time. Given the fact that in America, we consider somebody who works 1 hour of gig work an employed person, many people are not in this position to brace the impact of recession or depression. And the people who play with the money know this. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. So when this whole thing comes tumbling down, the pain you feel financially becomes a bargaining chip for the bankers to get bailouts. A large bailout that covers every portion of the economy except the worker. And they will tell you the same thing that they told you back in the past. Well, if we help the banks, it helps the people. How has that been working out for us? We have been helping the banks since 1913. And that's just the Fed. If we go back in time through the creation of history, the banks, even before it was federalized, have always been a problem for this country. We can go back to the Panic of 1907. We can go back to the Gilded Age panics that happened almost every 10 years after 1873. Or we can go back to the Panic of 1819. And if that's not far enough for you, we can go back to the Panic of 1792 that was caused by the stock market bubble bursting. I need you to put the pieces together, young man. This push towards extremism that you're seeing on every facet of life, whether it's gender topics, how you should live your life, how you should spend your money, or how you should invest to build a better future, is not on accident. They're trying to deprive you of any hope you have left so you can become cannon fodder for a bigger war they want to fight. Men are lonely because they're not achieving a lot in life. What does that lead men to do? Become the people who fight the wars for the people in charge. Instead of being honest about America's terrible monetary policy that has been in place for several generations, they have chose to prop up a system that is is draining you of your finances, but adding to their bottom line, while keeping you in their system and under their thumb the entire time. Why do they ship all the manufacturing jobs away, but make college harder for the average American to obtain? Why do they talk about how bad Obamacare was, but never talk about the amount of people that were denied healthcare because they had pre-existing conditions or were just too much of a risk for the insurance companies? The problems America is facing is not because we give too much to the people. It's not that we have too much welfare in the system. It's the fact that we have an economy that runs off taxes and we repeatedly cut them and misuse the funds. We just approved $900 billion to the DoD. If you know anything about the creation of the F-35, you understand how absurd that is. They give the Department of Defense endless budgets, will raise it every year and spend more on them, but will tell you that the $100 billion it takes to keep food stamps or EBT running isn't worth it, even though 94% of SNAP and other benefits go directly to households and not the government body. The corruption in SNAP is very minimal, but they like to make you think that it's the whole pie, but never talk about how much the bureaucrats get from every DoD bill that passes. On average, it comes out to $125 billion. And how could we save this $125 billion? By streamlining operations. But why doesn't that happen? Because the same bureaucrats that make that process insufficient are the same ones that decide the rules on how it continues. I know this was not the happiest video, but the news that we got yesterday was just a sign of times to come. I'm not telling you to pull your money out of the stock market. I'm not telling you to just tell everybody it's all coming to a collapse. But when somebody comes up to you in a year, maybe shorter than that, and say, wow, things don't look good, you would have been already prepared. You would have had more than a year of saving, planning, buying, stocking up to know what's coming in the future. Many people focus on America's global hegemony, but I think we need to talk about what's happening right now, and that is the parabolic shift in that framework. America is stepping back from being the controller of the world at a time where it really needs to control the world. The financial landscape that we've been working with since World War II is going to change on its head very soon. Within our lifetime, I think. Whether that's tokenization or deglobalization, something major will be shifting. The powers will change, and the authority of our country will also change. The middle class that is almost non-existent in America will continue to get smaller until this is figured out. Many of the top economists and people who are making money in this market know this. They've accepted this, and they're planning for this on the back end. These companies moving to India is not a coincidence. They see the America First sentiment happening, and they understand that they cannot appease the wants of the people. So while the headquarters doesn't flee, and Elon decides to live in one of our states, and Zuckerberg still vacations at his house in Nantucket, all the vital jobs that keep this country moving will disappear. But they will tell you that the H-1B visa numbers are down, and well, we fixed the policies on that. But they had to wait until all the major corporations offshored before they could change the policies. I'm not pessimistic, I'm realistic. But at the end of the day, what do I know? I'm just an unemployed guy playing Call of Duty, sharing my opinion. If you agree or disagree, let me know down below in the comments. What do you see happening in the next year? What do you see happening in the next 6 months? Are we continuing this all-time high spree, or are we faced for a major correction? If you haven't already, like and subscribe to join the thread. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Until next time.